Hello, I'm Rachel from Douentza Garden in Ireland, and you're very welcome to this video about multiple perennials. There are so many perennials here that it's hard for me to know where to stand, that I'm not obscuring a fantastic yellow Coreopsis, some amazing blue Roseanne, geranium Roseanne, or oh, let us not forget the delphiniums, those tall double spires of blue and purple at the back. I'm completely overwhelmed, and it's because I've been gifted an amazing array of perennials for my birthday. So do stay tuned and let's go through these fantastic plants that I want to tell you all about. Well, where do I even start? I don't even know how many perennials there are here on the table behind me. It's July, it's my birthday, and this year my daughter has gifted me an amazing array. I believe it's €200 worth of perennials, which she picked up in a local garden centre, Tier Lawn in Bunclody. For any of you who are Irish, you will know them well, and they have some amazing plants in there. But I did not expect this. I absolutely did not expect this. And to tell the truth, I generally tend to buy perennials in July because, well, you know, it's my birthday and I feel like I deserve a treat, and I usually toddle along to wherever takes my fancy in that particular year and pick up some plants for the garden. And they tend to be July flowering perennials because obviously what's in flower will catch your eye if it's in flower when you're going in to buy. And the result of that, I guess, is that my garden often looks better in July than it does in any other month. Well, this year it's kind of that on steroids, because there are so many plants here behind me that I was just completely overwhelmed when Cece came in with all of these in the car, and it's hard to know where to start. It's so hard to even know where I'm going to plant them in the garden, but isn't it a wonderful problem to have? And I suppose because what we should be doing here is talking about the plants. And you're going to have to forgive me, perhaps I haven't done a whole lot of research on these, but I wanted to share them with you before I put them in the ground, and I'm very anxious to get them in the ground because keeping this lot watered, well, it's going to be a bit of a problem. And I guess we're going to start here with some gorgeous lavenders. And we have 3 types of lavender here. Yes, 3. So starting off with the perhaps not completely hardy, we have the French lavender, a variety that's purple called Great Adventure, and a pink one which make fantastic pot displays. And if you protect them over winter, then you're going to have, well, you're going to have them going forward. And we start there, but we also have perfectly hardy lavenders, and this is what's known as the English lavender. So this is, it's not Munstead, it's one called Hidcote, a variety I don't really know. 3 of them, because it's always great to have things in 3s, isn't it? And you know what? I did grow lavender from seed several years ago and had it for many years in my garden, but it's all gone now. So it's wonderful to have this. And the scent, of course, you know, I always feel it's not a floral scent really, the scent of lavender. It's more astringent, even medicinal, but so invigorating and wonderful. And I'm going to enjoy finding a spot for these 3 lavenders. Whoa! Okay, let's talk about the Coreopsis here. And I will just move it out. This is Coreopsis Solar Jewel. And when I saw it first, I thought there is no way that is hardy, because I have had bad experience with Coreopsis. But I did look it up, and the RHS in England seems to think it would be hardy in my part of the world, and that would be just wonderful. I think it's H4 or something according to their scale. So definitely it should be able to cope with -5, which would generally be the coldest it gets here. Look at those flowers. They are amazing. This is such a showstopper, and it's going to look fantastic at the front of some border or other. No scent, of course, but it is gorgeous, isn't it? So from the Coreopsis, which is going out, to another one, whoa, which is definitely tender. So this is Chocolate Cosmos, and I have wanted one of these to plant in my greenhouse border for a long time. So I'm just delighted to have the opportunity to get one. And this, of course, this smells absolutely of chocolate. We all know the annual Cosmos, and many of us grow it from seed, but this is the one that's properly perennial, if a little bit tender. And as you know, I have a greenhouse border where temperatures are kept at a minimum of 5 degrees in winter due to a heater, and that's 41 Fahrenheit. And that would be the perfect place to have a beautiful scented perennial like this. At the very front here we have two that look surprisingly gorgeous together. Now this is a much more subtle combination, or a subtle blend of colours than we saw with the other ones. And look at this. Look at those dusky pink double flowers together with a geum Mai Tai. And I'm a big fan of geums in the garden, absolutely love them. But I usually go for the reds or the oranges. So this dusky pink one is quite a new departure for me. It looks fantastic together with the Rudbeckia. Now I have a little bit of a query over the identity of this plant here. It says it's a Rudbeckia and Sumarina. Now I looked up Rudbeckia sumarina, and there's no such thing as Rudbeckia sumarina, but there is a cultivar sumarina, which is a hybrid between Rudbeckia and Echinacea. So that's, I guess, what this is. And confusingly though, further down on the label it says Rudbeckia Rudy Double, which is a completely different plant. It does look like the pictures of the sumarina that I saw online. Anyway, so I'm not sure what it is, but it's blooming gorgeous, and it's going to look fantastic in a pot at the front of my house. Maybe even with the geum. I really, really love the colours on that one. It's just fantastic. Okay, so moving over to its right, over on this side, and we have a Penstemon. And this one is Penstemon Garnet, which is not yet in flower, but has loads and loads of buds coming. And the thing I love about this Penstemon is that I know it's completely and utterly hardy. For me anyway, in my kind of zone 9 garden here in Ireland. So we don't use that system here, but I would say that kind of -5 would be the lowest that I'd get in terms of winter drops. But anyway, garnet is a fantastic plant with, I can't show you the label, let's show you the label. It's kind of got a deep kind of maroony red flower, which is really striking. I have it in a border at the very front of the garden, and it flowers for such a long time, like most Penstemons. Absolutely gorgeous. So you know, this is the thing about buying for yourself. If you're buying plants for yourself, I find I very seldom will buy the same thing again. I always want to try something different. Whereas it often benefits a border if you can echo certain plants in it. So, for example, at the very back there we have an amazing helenium, Sahan's early flower, which looks fantastic in the border in front of my glass house. And the border would definitely benefit with having an echo of that gorgeous orange just a little bit further over. But if I go to a shop to buy plants, I want to try something new. I'm not going to buy something I already have, because you think to yourself, well, you know, I could propagate it, I could divide it in autumn. But then, of course, you don't, because who wants to break up a beautiful big clump that is working so wonderfully in situ? So I also have a helenium, Sahan's early flower, and that, oh yes, that is so definitely going in the border in front of the glass house. Okay, so I don't know, can you see back there? Can you see the lupin? We have a fantastic pink lupin there, and this one is called Rachel de Tem. And any of you who are in the UK or in Ireland will know Rachel de Tem. She is one of the presenters on the very important gardening programme called Gardener's World, and she's had various plants named after her. One of which is this beautiful pink and white lupin, which is going to look fantastic over in Joshy's garden on the west side of the garden, where I have that pinky white theme going on. A bit of a departure from my normal wallowing in oranges and reds. So, I guess, is it time? It's time to talk about the delphiniums. And can you believe how fantastic that particular delphinium is? And I am lucky enough to have two of them. So you're probably asking, delphiniums, but Rachel, you grew a load of delphiniums from seed not very long ago. 3 different types, in fact. They did beautifully. I have them in various places in the garden now. I've got white ones, I've got dark blue, and I've got the most fantastic bluey purple one. So what am I going to do with even more delphiniums? And I must say to you that this particular one is very special. It has the most amazing double bluey purple flowers, and it seems quite stocky, which is a good thing really, because we all battle with trying to keep those enormously tall delphiniums upright in the garden. But just look at those amazing, amazing, mouth-watering flowers. I'm completely and utterly in love with this one. And I have 2. Doesn't get better than that. The next beauty I want to show you is this fantastic foxglove or digitalis. And it has these gorgeous kind of pale orange flowers. And that is just the sweet spot for me in terms of flowers. That kind of orangey, gorgeous colour. Don't get me wrong, I do like the deeper oranges as well, and I like the reds too. In fact, I like lots of different colours. But this is a gorgeous thing. It's called Firecracker, and it is perennial, and as far as I can make out, it is hardy, which is a definite bonus. And I think this will look super in the same spot as the heleniums, because the colour scheme goes very well with it. I like it a lot. Gorgeous, gorgeous foxglove. And I have a daylily, and this one is called Hans Val, something like that. Lovely colours, absolutely lovely, warm, bright colours. And you know, I have a whole bed of daylilies up the back. They're nearly all red, but maybe just a little shot of this in among them would, well, shake things up a bit. And now we have Euchemus bicolor. So this is the pineapple lily, some of which are hardy. I don't think this one is, but it makes a fantastic pot specimen. And look at it. What I really love is the speckled stem. Can you see that in there? how there are speckles on the stem, making it look dangerous, but the flower is so fantastic. A hefty big plant that, well, really happy with that. And then right at the back, I don't know if you can see that there, but we have Alstroemeria Indian Summer, which perhaps, just perhaps, might be the best Alstroemeria of them all, because it has this gorgeous dark foliage which does wonders to accentuate the deep orange of the flowers, orange and yellow. Whoa, I just feel so overwhelmed here. Now I think I've talked you through all of the plants there on the table, so it just remains for this small bunch down at my hip here. And we have 3 of the wonderful geranium Roseanne, which many of you may know, purportedly the best blue continuous flowering geranium, and I have lots of it in my garden. And now what, you know what? I have 3 more. We also have Rudbeckia Goldstrum, a perfectly reliable, hardy Rudbeckia, which flowers with amazing golden flowers from July onwards, and you can see this one is just opening up its blooms. Again, one that I do have already in the garden, but would certainly welcome another few, because you could never have too many of that. And then finally we have a heuchera, and I do believe this one is called Marmalade. Woo! Isn't that super? So it doesn't have the deep red leaves of some of the ones I've bought more recently. It has, as my daughter pointed out, green on top, and then it fades to red. But it's actually a kind of a yellowy, greeny top side to the leaf, and then the underside is a pink. It certainly gives a wonderful overall appearance, and you know what, that looks great against this Rudbeckia here. Look at that, fantastic. And obviously the geum that went with it. Those kind of dusky colours are really quite appealing. Might I be finding another favourite combination for the garden? Anyway, there you go. And whoa, that's it. And you're probably asking me, where are you going to plant them all? Where are you going to plant them all? And the answer, quite honestly, is I'm not sure. But you know what? I'm going to have immense fun finding spots for them and slotting them in and getting my borders to sing even more than they do already. So a great big thank you to Cece for this wonderful, wonderful gift. I mean, what better gift can you give to a plantaholic like me? And yeah, I hope you're enjoying your July. I hope you're enjoying the beautiful warm weather, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.